Hello and welcome to Marathon Swim Stories. I'm Shannon Keegan. Are you planning any big swims this year? Let me know if I can help. Swimming efficiently is key, so send me some swimming footage for free video analysis. Or let me build your training plan to ensure that you're well prepared and that you don't get injured before you even start. Today's guest has been marathon swimming for the last 4 decades. I was fortunate to run into Suzanne Heim during one of my online events. Can you believe that she jumped on a What is Marathon Swimming Q&A call? Just to connect. It was fun to collaborate and point aspiring marathon swimmers in the right direction. As you can imagine, she has more than a few stories to tell. This is just an overview. Enjoy. All right, Suzanne, what's your story?
Oh, what's my story? Well, I've been swimming for so long and doing it at so many different events. From the pool swimming to solo marathon swimming, although really there is no solo about the whole solo marathon swimming, right? Because it's such a team effort. And to racing on the USA national team, and then really going after it for masters and getting the master pool swimming world records, and then racing some smaller swims, and then again I think we've termed them events around the world for things like the English Channel and those longer events.
I like to call them events too. They're not races anymore. It's an event because it's a milestone.
They're milestones. But since I started open water swimming in about 1978, over the years, it's changed. It's changed. So it sort of went from racing, maybe a 10 miler, to trying to set records in first time swimming, to first time trying to do some of these swims, feeling like Christine Columbus, you're going to fall off the end of the earth if you do this swim and you go outside the Golden Gate, to then getting bored with that and even doing some triathlons and then going back to pool swimming. And so it's my swimming career has just been like all over the map. But honestly, if you really want to start from the beginning, I learned to swim with a mommy and me through the Y. So I really, give them some props. They have a really good program. I guess my mom took me there when I was a little one. And then I tried out for a swim team when I was 5 years old, and it was the Ann Curtis. And Ann Curtis was an Olympian in the 1948 Olympics, and she started her own swim school. And she was also the first female to win the Sullivan Award. The Sullivan Award was for amateur athletes. So my mom knew of her because it's kind of the same age area, and she wanted me to belong to the swim team. So I tried out for the swim team, and you just had to swim 15 yards. I was 5 years old, and I had swim lessons. It was the year before, and I got in there and I forgot how to swim.
Yeah, it happens with kids.
I didn't make the team. Oh. And I could tell you from all the way from when I was a little kid, I cried all the way home because and my mom felt bad because she didn't, she says, well, I should have had you do some swimming before you, just not jump in the pool.
Jump right in. Yeah.
Right. Well, mom felt bad. And I was crying. So then we got some swim lessons and we joined the summer rec team, Ann's team. And from there, then I started swimming in a more competitive age group team. And it was actually Marin Aquatic Club, and Rick DeMont was one of the Olympians there. And he won a gold medal in the 72 Olympics. And I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I was really impressed by his long 3-hour workouts, and it was the 1500. Only unfortunately, he had his medal taken away because he had asthma and he declared all his drugs and all his meds, but the doctors missed it. So long story short on that one, he didn't get his, the person who got the silver medal never took it. So he doesn't have his gold medal. Nobody has a gold medal. Nobody knows where it is. Anyways, he ended up to be quite a excellent coach at University of Arizona.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was kind of, by that time, I think I was like 12 or 13, and didn't like that. It didn't set well with me at all. All this hard work, and all I saw as a kid, well, he has his medal taken away and it wasn't fair. And I don't want to work hard and I don't want to do this. And there was no women's scholarship. So I quit swimming when I was 13 and did other things like, other things. My path kind of went a different way, but I did join. I had a coach in high school, and he kind of sort of saw the way I was going and tried to get me involved. I swam I didn't swim. I played boys water polo because I could swim.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I could swim. And so I played one of the first women to do that, or girls to do that. And then I graduated from high school early. We ended up starting and I did ran cross country, wasn't interested in swimming at all. We got to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo over here on the West Coast in California. And there was no women's swim team. And there was the beach, but I hated the ocean because I had this little incident where I almost drowned when I was like 5 or 6 at the beach, that whole not swimming thing, you could see the sand and everything. So no ocean. But here I was going to school in a place where everybody would go to the beach. Still was not really enthralled with it at all whatsoever. But I wanted to get the swim team going. So a group of us did some guerrilla marketing, 16 men's sports and 4 women's, and it was Title IX. And we did the whole thing of guerrilla marketing, posting our signs all around the campus and got people interested. And first year went to the student body meeting. All our hair was wet. The air temperature outside was probably 28. And we were like sitting in a meeting at night, not with wet hair. I mean, they had to approve us. And so, we made the process work for us. Got the women's team going down there at Cal Poly. So I had like 2 years eligibility there at Cal Poly before, again, I graduated early. But in the meantime, peer pressure kind of got to me, and I ended up doing some swims in the ocean.
Okay.
And but it was, my friends were questioning me, like, Suzanne, you can swim well. At the time, I was a backstroker, not a distance freestyle. Suzanne, you can swim really well in the pool. What is your issue here? And I said, well, I don't like to stand on the bottom. I don't like the big waves. I don't like this and that. So here these were non-swimmers that were trying to help me out and kind of overcome my anxiety and stress and do some positive talking. And it was just a really positive environment, going to the beach and being with my friends. So there was all this positive stuff about it. And I started, oh, well, okay, I like this. Came home one summer in San Francisco Bay Area from school. And there was this 1 mile swim in Aquatic Park in San Francisco Bay with the Dolphin Club. And it was open to the public. My dad, 3rd generation San Franciscan, he'd been a member of one of the clubs down there. It's called the Aerial Club. It had burned down. It was right next to the Dolphin Club. But it's like, Sue, why don't you do this? And so I said, okay. And this is all on other people's suggestions because I'm not coming up with this. Oh, so, okay, go in the ocean. Okay, all right.
Right.
Okay, so I ended up swimming in this race, and I liked it. And this woman there, her name was Veronica Mann. And her husband was the first man to break a minute in the 100-meter backstroke in the 64 Olympics. So again, swimming, she's saying, Suzanne, you're a really good swimmer. Come join the Dolphin Club. Well, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, at the time, that was 1978, and they had just admitted women in late 1976.
Wow.
So I was probably one of the first 50 women to actually join the club there. And I really have to thank all those women that went before me, because I know it was not easy joining a club with all men at all whatsoever. And they kind of led the charge and forged and made opportunities for me that I was able to take advantage of. So I'm very grateful to those ladies that really kind of took those guys to the mat and said, hey, you need to admit women.
Right.
Well, that was 78, and I was still going to school. I had one more year. So I joined the club. I returned to the San Francisco Dolphin Club, returned to school thinking, wow, this is really cool. So then swimming in the ocean. So then there was this 10-mile swim in Huntington Seal Beach. I knew nothing about the whole thing. Meanwhile, I was swimming masters swimming in a pool. And at the time, they were considered professional. And you couldn't swim in an AAU swim. And this Huntington to Seal Pier 10-mile swim was supposedly an amateur swim. But all this was back in the day. Everything was just starting to really get organized and come together.
Yeah.
For long distance swimming.
Mm-hmm.
And I met this man named Dale Petranek. And Dale, there's an award for him from the International Swimming Hall of Fame because he was like a savant when it came to all, who's who in long distance swimming. So I called him up and I said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can I enter this? I'm master swimming, AAU swimming. He says, yes, we're changing all the rules. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
Just go do the swim. So everything was like, just go do it. I'm like, okay. Not that I knew what I was going to do for a 10-mile swim.
So you did 1 mile and then your next swims.
Well, yes, but I was smart enough while I was at school. So that was in July. I knew that I had to do some training. So my training was in down in Southern California, Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. And I got one of my friends, this guy friend, and he had a paddle board and we would go out and we would swim, on a paddleboard, an hour or two. And this is where I have a few stories that my parents never knew, thankfully. We would go straight out and then we would like hit a fog bank. And that's when he got cold. I didn't get cold because he didn't have a wetsuit on. And of course, there is no other, there's no other safe. We didn't think of safety contingencies, right?
Right. No, you're just like, we got to swim. Let's go out.
Let's go out. 20 years old, 19, 20 years old, just kind of, oblivious. So we hitchhiked. Luckily, a fishing boat found us and we hitched a ride with them, got a little bit of a lecture from the sea salt saying you wouldn't be out here if you knew what was in the water, because at the time there was Diablo Canyon, and Diablo Canyon is a nuclear power plant, and they were having like warm water. So they're like critters, especially sharks, like the difference between the cold and the warm water.
Right.
Wow. So yes, so we got our lecture from the fishermen. They dropped us off. And we did some other swims, and that's where I'd like jump off piers. There's a restaurant at the end, and I thought it was really cute to like be jumping off a pier, and which is like really foolish, because jumping off a pier, you never know what's underneath the water because people push a lot of junk off the water. And of course, I never knew how deep it was because we didn't even know what tides and currents were. And pretty stupid stuff. We'd go down and we'd swim for a mile or two, an hour or two, and then we'd hitchhike back in our swimsuits. And but I'm here, so everything's okay.
Yeah.
So we get to the swim down there at Seal Beach, and again, I didn't know how to feed. I didn't know anything. I didn't, okay. So I took some water. That's all I took. And then he's on the surfboard. And at one point, I remember I was getting really stiff, but I did know enough. You can't touch the paddler or any boat. I did know that. So he got off and I was getting stiff, and he was going to like pull my arms back and kind of stretch me. And the referee boat came by and said, like, what are you doing? Well, he hadn't touched me yet. I said, well, I'm sorry. He goes, well, no, I'm sore. And he's going to stretch me. No, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So I finished. I did, and I did well. It was like a 3.5 hour swim. I think I was 5th overall and first female. Okay, Good job. Fine. And I think the reason why I really wanted to swim at the time is they had these really nice beer steins.
Yeah.
And you're at college, and that was like a really cool thing, right?
Yeah, totally. Everybody needs a beer stein in college.
Everybody needs a beer stein,
especially when it's free and an award.
It's free, and it had this little emblem. You did this 10-mile swim, bragging rights.
Yeah.
So so my buddy and I, got some swims in. By that time I had graduated, and so I graduated, I think, in a few months later, came back to the Bay Area and started really swimming at the Dolphin Club, doing a bit more. And that's when, so we're looking at 1980, and There are some things, again, there's some swims, and I found so much support and people really wanting to help me. Of course, I didn't come up with a lot of these ideas. Other people are coming up with, oh, Suzanne, why don't you do this? Meanwhile, all I really wanted to do was swim the Golden Gate, because I remember putting this poster, this gorgeous poster of the Golden Gate and the sunrise, and at the end of my bed. So every morning I'd wake up. That was my biggest goal, was to swim the Golden Gate Bridge. And so bit by bit, I did swim the Golden Gate, and my swims got a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And at that time I was in race mode. So I was racing for records, and I was, had the fastest swim across the gate for a female, and around Alcatraz and back and forth. In fact, I think those times still stand to this day. But that was that mentality then.
Right.
Okay, so we're in race mode. Then it kind of shifts. Well, as I started getting to be more a part of the Dolphin Club and finding a lot of the support, and for, women just being in the club in 76, and now we're at 80, I was finding a lot of support from many of the old timers and the other guys and rowers that would help me out on some swims. And so they were coming up with some really great ideas. Now, some of these ideas were conjured up there's a bar up the street called Buena Vista that serves really good Irish coffees. And so I do my little swim in the bay, at the aquatic park, and we'd head up there and we'd get some creative juices going. And on napkins, we write out napkins. Well, how about if we did this and we go here? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. And it was fun. It was really fun. I mean, again, one of my first swims, this man set up, we got somebody who we thought, knew tides, because at that time there is no GPS.
Right.
No, we had to go to something called the San Francisco Bay model. And the San Francisco Bay model is exactly that. It's a model, it's this very giant model of the San Francisco Bay with all its unique tides and currents. Because when you think of it, the gate is only like 7/8 of a mile wide, right? The Golden Gate, and it's filling up like 422 square feet of miles, 422 square miles, right?
Wow.
And right at the gate itself, it's really deep. It's like 370 some odd feet deep. And so you get a lot of water, just really boiling there. And then you have all these land masses. You've got Alcatraz and Angel Island. You have all this, and you have, water going in and out of the gate and making all these back eddies and going out one direction and coming the other direction. And really, it's the bay, even in the shipping channel, is just like 45 feet deep. So it's not really deep. So you have water that's just wish-washy all over the way. So you go down to the bay model, and at the bay model, we would stick our little pieces of paper in to see which way the water would be going at a certain time, with our tide charts that we would watch and really look at. And then the man who was running the bay model kind of got a little irritated with us, because the little pieces of paper we were throwing in, probably not supposed to, were clogging up the system. So he was interested actually in what we were doing. And his name on his license plate was Tides J, Mr. Johnston. So Mr. Johnston helped us out a whole lot, trying to predict my speeds, kilometer per hour, with the actual, what the tides and the currents are supposed to be at this point, at this time. You're supposed to be at this point, at this time. Suzanne, pick up the pace, that sort of thing. So we had this map, and I still have some of those old courses of the time we took off and how we used to plot them. So one of the first swims was, it was from Tiburon to San Francisco, to Aquatic Park to the Dolphin Club. And this man figured it out. And one of the guys from the Dolphin Club, tides, currents, okay, fine. So we had a date. I had a rowboat and a paddler. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So I show up with my paddler, and my pilot wasn't there. The next thing I know, here this other guy comes. He's 70 years old. He had to row against the tide to come pick me up and we did our little swim, which was really nice. So my other guy who was supposed to, swims never go as they're supposed to. I've learned that over the years, right? You got to be flexible and roll with it. And even on my Catalina swim, which was just last year, it was like, flexibility is key.
It's key, yes.
And so is there's a lot to be said for deep breathing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you said support boat, you meant this paddler, or excuse me, the rowboat.
The rowboat, yes, right.
You said pilot. You said pilot. When some people think of pilot as a motorboat, but you're saying pilot is your rowboat.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No motorboat. No radio. No, I mean, oh.
But you're still here to tell the story.
I'm still here to tell the story.
And how long was this roughly? I mean, how long was this roughly? The Tiburon?
That was let's see, that was a Tiburon. That was, I think it was like 2.5 or 3 hours. Okay. 2.5 or 3 hours. So, which a lot of times, what had happened is, let's see, that was 81. Looking at some of these. That was 2 hours and 7.8 miles, 2 hours and 13 minutes. So you have to understand that like a lot of the swims that we were doing back then were like a big deal, like 2, 3, 4 hour in the cold water, San Francisco Bay. That's like probably 60 degrees, 58 degrees.
Right. Now
they're not even like training swims for people. I know. Right. It's not just one way, it's back and forth, but back then it was a big deal. Now sometimes I'm embarrassed to say, but the swims hadn't been done at that time. Right. And with GPS and a lot of technology, it really, things have progressed logarithmically in open water swimming. Right. So we do it. So anyways, that was kind of the first swim that I had done. So now we're starting to embark on a lot of first swims around the San Francisco Bay. And meanwhile, the shorter swims, I'm still racing, New York Day Alcatraz that we have. Water temp there is, well, it used to be colder than it is now, but it would range from 46 to 48. But remember, we'd have a nice warm sauna and a shower to go to. Yeah. Which I'm finding out now with all this COVID stuff, it's like there is none, and you just have to do the shake and shiver show. And some of these people that I see that are just so inspirational, like those cold water ice swimmers or not even ice swimmers when they're swimming in 40 degrees and there is nothing and they're going in and it's like, oh my gosh, it blows me away. Anyways, they're in my
tell me what, so you were doing these races and having success with that. What made you think to push for swims that had never been done or push distances? What kind of pushed you over the edge that way?
We like the adventure. Okay. And I said so we had this group that really worked well together. And then we started to fine tune stuff after we had some like, I'm looking like up at a freighter like this. We didn't have vessel traffic. Then we said, let's get radios instead of looking at the newspaper for when ships are coming in, right? Right. Because, there's a lot of the freighters. There's a lot of big traffic in the San Francisco Bay, and you got to really be careful of that. But we would call vessel traffic, but that really wasn't all true. And right. So then we decided to have radios, and then we decided to have a motorboat. And then, so now it's like becoming a flotilla. We had our traditional rowboat that we had, because that's part of the tradition. And there was one old timer named Herman Zoller that I knew I was safe because he smoked a cigar, and I knew that wherever he was, I could smell that cigar. People don't like different
kind of exhaust, right?
Wasn't diesel, wasn't gas, it was cigar. And then we had, and then one of the swims we did. So we really liked the adventure of and we also liked afterwards. We really like to have a big party afterwards.
Are you the only swimmer
yes.
These other? Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm the only swimmer. So it's one swimmer, and then we would have one motorboat, one rowboat, a kayaker, maybe even 2 motorboats if need be. One would stay with me, and then one that would go around and kind of chase boats away. I even remember one of the Beta Breakers swim from the Bay Bridge to Ocean Beach, which the Beta Breakers is a big running race of 100,000, but I was going to swim it. Of course. So we had to go outside the gate, and all politically incorrect. We had a sharpshooter for sharks because there was a shark attack in like 58 or 62 outside the gate. So everybody's like afraid, still, even though this was like the early 20 years later. So that was a lot of fun doing the first, these swims, these adventure swims in some ways. And then somebody said, well, Suzanne, you've done enough in the Bay. Have you thought about the English Channel? I'm like, oh, good idea. But how would I do that? Now you have to remember that back then, again, the resources just aren't there. I mean, like we've got all these internet and you can get going. You have to really know somebody.
Yeah.
And so at the time I knew Carol Brighter, and I connected with her via a boyfriend, and she was on the pro circuit, and she said, I know about training. I know how to do this. So she actually helped me out. She's my trainer. So in 85, I swam it once, and it was from France to England.
Okay.
And again, when I think of it, back then it was one pilot, one crew person,
right,
one observer, and my trainer.
Yeah.
4 people.
Right. Now we have shifts and
now we have, like there's like 12 people, like for Catalina. I was like, oh my gosh, because I don't have a whole lot of personal people except one trainer on the boat. So that swim was eventful, and we were and I think in open water, like, even though I might have the speed at that time, I also was a realist that, you need a good tide, you need a good pilot, good trainer, good swimmer, good weather. And most of all, what you need if you want a record is good luck.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So
but you were going for the record. Were you going for the record?
From France to England. Yeah, very doable. But I also knew that records are nice. It's the cherry on top of my Sunday.
Okay.
Always grateful for a finish, because so many, I had experience, so many things can happen. So we were swimming France to England, and so of course my course took me right through where they were restricted area, where they were building the channel. So the French threatened to come. This is all unbeknownst to me. So they actually have a recording on it, and so there's actually a recording of all what happened, and I have that. It's documented on this documentary. So the French threatened to come in and abort the boat. They were shooting off flares. So I know I'm swimming from France to England, and then suddenly I know I'm going back to France.
Oh.
I'm heading, okay. So I knew I was going the opposite direction, but I'm a pretty disciplined swimmer, so I don't ask a whole lot of questions. I'm very boat trained. I follow the boat. Okay. And they have the little whiteboard where they're writing stuff, and she's writing good messages, keep going, doing great, but I know I'm headed back to France. So we had to go around this restricted area. So obviously when you're going on a 5 or 6 meter tide, that's not a good thing. So much for any record. Right. And I was happy at 10 hours and 11 minutes.
So you went into the restricted area, went back towards France, and then were able to
We had to go swim around the restricted area, and then I landed. And the landing wasn't really very great where I landed. And I think they've changed the rules since then, because you get the real low tides. And when I landed, there was actually a lot of rocks, and so I had to crawl the rocks, and I got pretty cut up. So they were figuring it out, I think, afterwards, that maybe that's not such a good idea.
I don't even think they do France to England anymore, is my understanding, that you can't
do it anymore.
Yeah. Wow. I think Sal was saying that, Sal Minty Gravette.
Wow. Well, I was lucky then.
You got to do it. Nope.
And then the following year, so of course I want more. So I want to go back the other way. So Mike Orm was my pilot on that one, and Carol was there as my trainer. So we started out in a different place because we wanted to see if it was fast. I like doing these things, trying these things. It may work, it may not work. Yeah. So we started out from St. Margaret's Bay. And I think that day there were probably 5 or 6 of us. that started, and I think only 2 or 3 of us finished. I pretty much looked at the keel of the boat the whole time. It was really rough. It was really, really, really,
Wow.
yeah. And landed at Wisconsin. It was 10 hours and 1 minute. So much for that.
Yeah.
And I kind of got a little sassy at the end, and I said, if this water is ever flat out here, I want to be out here. And yeah, kind of, and so 4 days later, the pilot called me up and said, "We have a very flat day. Do you want to go?" I'm like, well, I did say, right? So are you a person of your word or not, Suzanne? I'm like, fine, I'm going. So I did
4 days later. Wow.
Yeah, another crossing, a little more traditional from was it 4 days? Well, it was within like 5. It was maybe 5 days. Anyways, it was soon after. So so we did a traditional where you start at Shakespeare Beach, and it was flat. You could have water skied across it. It was gorgeous. It was wonderful. And usually my strokes were at that time were about 76 a minute.
Wow.
And I got down, that was on the first swim. I got down to 56 strokes a minute.
Wow.
Phil Rush happened to be on the boat as he was training for his 3-way. And he jumped in and I actually had a pace swimmer because I usually don't. And that was really nice to have a pace swimmer actually.
Nice.
And then Carol asked me, or somebody on the boat asked me, well, how are you doing? And I blew a gasket because I hate that question. I hate that question.
You're like, whatever you do, just don't ask me how I'm doing.
Oh, please don't ask me how. My stroke rate down to 56. And I just kind of lit into, how do you think I'm doing? I'm tired, water's flat. I can't go fast. And I was just like, I'm usually not like that, but I was not a happy person with that question. And so then the pilot came out and said, because I think that they were thinking they weren't used to me. They weren't used to me being that slow, from 76 to 56. And the pilot just said, oh, she's got that attitude. He said, if she's that pissy, she's just fine. So, so we finished that swim in 10 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh,
and, it was wonderful. It was flat. I was just tired.
Right.
And so after that, there was I was asked to be a participant in this international 3-way relay, which was like in another 5 or 6 days.
Oh my goodness.
And again, I really like to take opportunities.
Apparently.
And that FOMO, fear of missing out, and I just want to just try everything. And it was going to be a challenge because I do get seasick. But yes, it was 1 young man from Great Britain, 2 from Belgium, 1 from Japan, 1 from 3 from Belgium. So there were 6 of us, international team. We did make it at 32 hours, 54 minutes, 3-way. The water was really kind to us, so I didn't get seasick. But it has to be one of the hardest things I've done because you get out, you swim hard for an hour, and then you get out and you vibrate. You're a human popsicle stick. And then you get in again. It was really hard. But I was the only antiseptic American. We couldn't, because this fishing boat was rather unique. It was a working fishing boat. You couldn't go underneath because that's where all the fish junk stuff was. And then on the top, it was cluttered with a lot of the traps and things like that, the crab traps and big buoys and things, and they didn't have a head, so we had a fluorescent orange bucket. Nobody else cared. I'm like, okay, I just kind of here we go. And so it was pretty basic, but that was really exhausting. So it was like a 2.5 weeks. I'd been back and forth in the channel so many times.
Wow. And this is your first experience over here, right? So you're coming from okay. Oh, that's right. You were there the year before.
85, I did 1. And then 86, I did 2 solos and then the 3-way relay. And I was still gung-ho.
That's awesome. But before we get too far, I know that you've got a lot of stories, but I want to just understand from that. So you've got this kind of core group you're swimming and training within the bay, and then you're going for that first English Channel opportunity. What was it like to kind of come out of like, were you able to bring anyone along to like help, help motivate you, or was it really just this trainer and some other strangers on the boat, or what was it like, just like that shift, like from your pod to this
Well,
new place?
my parents did come over,
Okay.
but they're not on the boat.
Okay.
So none of my pod came over, but my parents did, which was wonderful to have.
Mhm.
There's nothing like having your mom and dad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. But other than that, you're just with
No, yeah,
whomever's out
yeah,
there, and you're like, I'm swimming. That's what I do.
that's what I do. That's what I do. And in fact, husband doesn't go on my boat for a lot of different reasons. Parents, mom, definitely not, because they would worry, and even wanting to do the Farallon swim. That's one swim that they had both asked me to please not do out here. I'm also a diver, so they weren't keen on me, going abalone diving when we used to be able to abalone dive. We do have friends of friends that have been hit by sharks, but you can't ignore it, but you just have to take your calculated risks.
Right.
And that's how I kind of live life,
Yeah.
with taking the calculated risks. And I think many open water swimmers do.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So so I was really happy, and I was gung ho to go back to the English Channel for the following year. Long story short on that one, I learned a lot. A lot of times we talk about home runs, but it takes a lot of foul balls to hit those home runs.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very sick. I did not take time off after all that training, and I probably should have, and let my body recover. Sick. I was not well trained. And there were so many people from the Dolphin Club. They were so supportive. And I think I've been such a project of so many people, especially at the club. I mean, they put on fundraisers. I mean, I was teaching preschool. I was going to grad school. I didn't have the funds necessary to really do that.
Right.
And they really stepped up and really helped me.
That's great.
So lucky, so appreciative. And I mean, have people that really want to see you achieve your dreams, even if you don't make it. And
Right.
that, I'll tell you. So in 1987, I went back, and this time I went back by myself. I didn't have a trainer or anybody with me. And I thought, I had people over there. I knew them well enough. Not the case. So it was a night swim, and I'm okay with night swimming, but I don't know. I was just tired. I was swimming 4 hours halfway, and I didn't want to be there. That's all I can tell you.
Huh.
I didn't want to be there. And I don't know. I just didn't want to be there. And I said, I'm quitting. And halfway, and they're like, are you kidding me? I go, no, I just don't want to be here. I got a little chilled, but nothing to write home about, but little chilled. And I knew it was a night, and I knew that they couldn't run the boat away from me. And if I touched the boat, the swim would be over. So I touched the boat and got out and proceeded to throw my swim cap and my swimsuit in the ocean and say, forget it. And the pilot said, you are done. You're too greedy. Do not come back here. You're done. And I threw up, and I was upset, and that's okay. I wasn't okay with it. It took me a little while to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Like a couple months. And I remember when I came back to the Dolphin Club feeling embarrassed that I had failed. Somebody said, Suzanne, sometimes it's harder to quit than it is to keep going. And I went, yeah, it was really hard, but you're right. And I learned a lot, and a lot about myself, picked it up, started training hard, and did a whole mindset gear shift. And next year won the USA Swimming Long Distance 25K Nationals. Wow. Was part of the 25K national team that went to Lake Geneva. Won a silver medal at World Championships. The width of Lake Geneva.
Yeah. Okay, good clarification.
So I forget how many K it was. I think it was supposed to be 18, but that was all interesting. Shelley Taylor Smith and I were kind of back and forth. Shelley Taylor is an incredible motivator, open water swimmer, really also for women just really forged a lot of, made a lot of progress for women in the world championships for the pro circuit. Anyways, I remember the last mile, my team said, sprint for a mile, sprint. Like, don't tell me to sprint for a mile. So Chili just put the hammer down, and so got us, and just, you know, beat me by a couple minutes, probably like 5 minutes. And it was like a 3.5 hour swim. And it was a good time, and it was really fun to go ahead and to race, you know, 25Ks. Following year, I ended up, my other passion is education and working with kids with special needs, medically fragile, severe behavior disorder, autistic. And then the last part of my life was, of career, was working at juvenile hall for with incarcerated youth, and a lot of trauma in there. So if you wonder why I swim, there you go. My piece, my time, you know, that. And all the way along the line, all the way along my life, people say, what motivates you? Well, I know when I'm in the water and I'm swimming, that's all I'm thinking about, whether it's training, and it just clears my head. You know, we've got kids that are, you know, I have some kids that are pretty challenging, which I love the challenges. And I love how I really enjoyed my kids that are autistic, severe behavior disorder, because it, you know, it's always kind of like playing chess, you know, trying to figure things out as a school psychologist and licensed educational psychologist, and then the same at juvenile hall. But there's a lot more trauma and pretty intense stuff. So that swimming there, when I was swimming the last couple of years, was really a needed necessity there. My time for myself. Great. I really enjoyed working with those kids, but it's like no other when you deal with kids with such significant trauma.
Yes.
So then I went to New Zealand and ended up getting a scholarship with the teacher, the handicap scholarship for the Rotary Foundation. So I spent a year in New Zealand, had a great time, pool swimming and open water swimming. I was there not a day. And they said, we have a race on Saturday. Okay, I'm up for it. It's Rangitoto, an island in New Zealand. Here, you just keep the water tower on your left and the palm tree on your right. Okay, so there I go, swimming there. And so I had met wonderful people, great school. So that was New Zealand. The following year, I ended up trying out again for the USA national team, but got 5th at nationals in the 25K. So I'm back home now, and again, another reset. And so I start pretty much doing more pool swimming from about 1990 to about 2006, with some open water swims still, again, and some 10Ks, you know, 1 and 2 miles, and ended up doing International Masters Swimming Hall of Fame, first open water swimmer into their Hall of Fame, because I had been, so they did world championships. And in the pool, I think they've totaled up for me somewhere like, I don't know, over 40 world records for pool swimming. 1,500. But I did have the world record in the 100 free at one point.
That's awesome.
So again, so there you go. So there's the mindset. In 1998, I did the USA swimming nationals, still at almost age 4. I think I was about 40, and won a silver medal in the 10K distance down here. They were the USA swimming. I wanted to swim more long distance with them, but they would hold their swims a lot of times in Fort Myers, and the water was just too hot. And one of the worst times that I have gotten in trouble has been in hot water. A training swim. We were in a training camp for the USA national team in 88, and we were doing a swim at Lake. I forget what lake, but it was warm and had leeches. And yeah, I didn't get leeches, but my friend did. And got too hot, had to get pulled from the water, put in an air-conditioned car.
Oh gosh.
And that was pretty scary, you know, that was really scary, actually. So, you know, you talk about hypothermia. I actually did the other hypothermia. And so I'm very wary, very cautious of warm water. So pool swimming for about 15, still stayed in touch with my bay roots. And there was one swim I always wanted to do though, and that was swim around Manhattan. But in the 80s, I was too afraid to do it because I always heard about how the water was not the cleanest. And, San Francisco Bay was not the cleanest either. Now, significantly, the San Francisco Bay is cleaned up. And then I went around Manhattan. When I arrived from Manhattan, it is also significantly more clean than it was back in the 80s. Sorry?
What year did you do Manhattan?
So Manhattan was 2014.
Okay.
So I started, I said, okay, pool swimming. I'm kind of like, I wanted to do something else. And this time though, the mindset was just different. I wasn't racing. Yeah. I was finding a lot of camaraderie at the Dolphin in the South End with my buddies. And I was inspired by some of these, well, actually they're ladies that swim. Oh my gosh, they spend hours in the water, hours. They're not the speediest, but doggone it, I think it takes a lot of courage to know that when you jump in the water, they're going to be in the water swimming for like 18 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
To do swims that I might do like 6 hours or 7 hours faster. And I mean, the cold and the mindset, that it blows me away.
So very impressive.
I found this very impressive. And when we're out there training in Aquatic Park and beyond, it's sort of like, well, even though I'm not swimming with them, but knowing that they're in there with me or we're together, it's just nice knowing that there are other people spending hours in the water. You're not the only nut.
Right. So, right. Yeah.
So I really want to swim Manhattan. Also, I breathe only to the left. I know you're supposed to talk about bilateral breathing, but I'm really comfortable on the left. I can sometimes turn my head to the right, but it really is not comfortable. I breathe in that nice little pocket, right? Especially when it's choppy on my left. So, and Manhattan is the left side swim. So I got to see every little bit around that island. So I was really happy with that swim, but I was not well trained. And, yeah. And I could barely lift my arms up afterwards. It's like going, oh, this is not good. And there had been some other, the other reasons I kind of wanted to get back into my long distance open water swimming and find a little bit more peace. I had both my parents pass away within 6 weeks of each other in 2011. Yeah. So that was real difficult. And to say the least, it's like, here one day, gone another. Wow. So I jumped into really just swimming in the bay a lot more. I call it my Sunday. Every Sunday they go, oh yeah, I'm going to church. And people look at me and but you're not going to church. I go, no, I'm going to church. Yeah. The bay is my church.
Right.
Yeah. That's my time.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and when I say, yeah. And in the meantime, so I did the open water swimming. I should also back up. I was also recruited when I was doing my pool swimming. I was recruited in 2009 because I still had eligibility left from Cal Poly by the junior college team.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
My husband was coaching water polo and the coach wanted a long distance swimmer. So I swam for junior college for eligibility for 2 years in 2009 and 2010.
That's awesome.
And it was fun. I got, actually, I was third in the state in the 1500. And it was pretty, it set a conference record at the time. But then I was done with the pool swimming. Then again, so that was 2009, 2010. In fact, they even made a documentary out of it. It's called The 50-Year-Old Freshman, 50-Year-Old Freshman.
All right. I got to check that out.
It's the trailers on there. We don't make any money. It was done. It's just something, it was a documentary.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So then I was done with the swimming part, with the pool swim. I wanted to go back to my solace and my peace. So we did Manhattan. Meanwhile, I continue to be like swimming with this group at my church, the Dolphin in the South End. And I remember Evan Morrison saying to me, what, you haven't done Catalina? Oh, I thought you did. You haven't done around Angel Island? I thought you did. I'm like, no. Oh, so we're back to, this might be a good idea. So, but things have changed. Things have changed a lot than from when it was back in 1985. So it, it used to be more spontaneous when I would go out for swims. It's not so spontaneous anymore.
Nope.
No. So all I want to do is swim, and it was hard getting boats and people together. And so I met up with, they had Pacific, Sylvia Lecoq and Brian Tamerlan with Pacific Open Water. So they're like, we'll take care of it, and they've got, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, my thing went blank.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, I can still hear you and see you.
Okay, well, I can't see you, so
That's
I did
okay.
something wrong.
Well, no,
all right.
I can still hear you. You're good.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. All right.
Yeah.
There we go. So they're like, okay, swim. And they have every little GPS gadget and gadget and everything. And like, okay. So I ended up swimming around Angel Island because I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll try, Catalina. And that's a process. And so I kind of check out. So my around Angel Island was pretty character building. And cross-channel swim and boats and freighters and chunky and so okay, let's try Catalina if I can do this. So kind of getting a 6.5 hour swim, expecting Catalina to run me somewhere around 11 at the worst, hopefully 12, but we all know anything can happen. So I did book for Catalina, and I got down there, and they had switched pilots on the boat because, they keep taking people out and pilots have to have so much time off.
Yeah.
But I get to the boat and I'm like, oh my gosh, it is a flippin' floating hotel. I mean, I'm used to like,
rowboat, paddler, right?
Paddler board. And Sylvia, I asked Sylvia to be my crew on there and trainer because she knew how I was swimming and everything. And she's also a chartered pilot. So I knew if anything went wrong, she could take the boat over.
Yeah.
But they have 2 pilots. They have 2 observers. They have 2 kayaks. I was lucky enough to also do a 6-hour swim with Dan Seminelli because down in La Jolla, I even flew down there because I wasn't sure if I had it in me anymore if I could do this.
Yeah.
So I was really questioning my ability. So Dan and his buddy help kayak. Oh my gosh, if there was positivity on that boat, it was all over the place.
Wow.
But 2 pilots, 3 crew, got to have that galley crew. I love, because I want my crew to be happy. They have to be happy. I want everybody to get along. I want everybody who's working together. I want happy crew because the whole positive vibe. No husband. And he was having
meet you at the shore.
Yeah, he's on shore. I mean, like I said, one of his favorite shows is Shark Week. So that mojo does not go on my boat.
No, right.
No. And so anyway, the swim went without a hitch. It was great. The pilots were great. I mean, they're professionals, but it caught me by surprise. Oh, this isn't who I've been connecting with.
Right.
No, they're all professionals, but Sylvia could see on my face, like, and Dan, I got it. I'm like, that's what a crew person does. They got it. So all I have to do is worry about swimming.
Yeah.
Pretty much the swim was uneventful. I mean, it was a little chunky in the beginning, and medium chunking in the middle and lay your wake at the end. And then I had the current pushed me against me a little bit at the very end, and the water temperature dropped at the end. One of the things that did happen though, is I vomited for which I've never really done on a swim.
Oh, wow.
I did get seasick, but I was prepared for that. I had medicines, I had ginger tea, ginger cookies, ginger ale, ginger all over the place, just in case. And so, about 4 hours, I did some pretty good throwing up.
Yeah.
And finally, one of my paddlers, I was ready to take the meds, and he said, Suzanne, are you feeling nauseated? And I said, no. And then it finally clicked on me. And here I am, somebody who teaches mindfulness, somebody who is in touch with the breathing, somebody who does progressive muscle relaxation. I was so irritated with myself, and I was doing this like, Suzanne, get your act together. Your stomach's in a ball. You're nervous. Calm down. You've got great people. just relax, move on. You're fine. This isn't seasick. This is nerves. Knock it off. So after giving a little self a little pep talk there to get my
Right.
act together, it was all good.
Nice.
I got in the groove and it was fine.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and the husband was there at the very end with a big hug, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was wonderful. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm very proud to do the Triple Crown. I did, 10 hours. I think that swim was 10 hours and 16 minutes, solid time, very good. Yay. I was pretty sore again because I was cranking along a pretty good clip. There was which was great. I had another boat that also went off. So I had company, which was really fun.
Yeah.
Whenever you have somebody else, somebody else is also in the same water you are. So it's all good. But we're not, again, it's not racing. These are events. This is not the mentality that I used to have. This is all for me, having people around you. And of course, at the very end, after the swim, we all go have dinner. We have, I just, yeah, I like the end when we all get together and So now we're at the next swim, and everybody now is talking about back at the Dolphin and the South End. They're doing Tahoe, and I'm so again inspired by some of these people that knowing that they're going to spend 15, 16 hours out there. Suzanne, why don't you do it? I'm like, oh, how can I say no?
Right.
I mean, these guys are just incredible. So, I mean, people like I've got Raine Pierce, Cathy Harrington. These are Amy. I can't say her last name. Goober. I mean, these are ladies that are just still swimming, and they're incredible. And they're not like young. They're not real young. They're
Right.
still
Right.
mature in years.
Yeah.
So I go, okay. So I booked it with Sylvia, and we did Tahoe. And we tried twice. So the first swim, actually, did not, there was a warm storm that came in, made the water temp go up to 74. However, after an hour and a half, the wind was up to 25. When we left the lake, and it got up to 35.
Oh.
Not safe. So no. So we pulled me in, and that's hard, but I've been down that road before in England. You get a lot of false starts. So, I go back, this has happened before, been there, done that, false start, get down there. Nope, weather's changed, so you have to really keep your head together. And a few days later, we tried it again, and it had to be one of the most beautiful swims. Altitude even though I was up there for 9 days, it was a little bit rough on me. I really enjoyed turning on my back and looking at the stars. And even Brian was saying, Suzanne, you can pick it up now. No, I don't want to. I want to look at the stars. I don't have to worry about critters. I just can be, and the water is 67. It's warm, all good. So that was like 10 hours, 51 minutes. Kind of got a little anxious towards the end. I wanted to be done, but I really did enjoy that whole night experience. Awesome. It was really beautiful. Swim again was pretty uneventful. The first third was chunky ucky, and then the other one was choppy bay, similar to the bay,
right?
The bay, and the last was you could have laid your own wake.
Right.
So, and I really needed that Tahoe swim this year because my training was totally different than it had been, because I like to do a lot of pace training and training hard in the pool with 10 or 12,000, followed by a base swim. I have a specific training plan, a lot of pool, followed by longer open water. But with all the COVID, I did all open water, no pool. And interestingly, while I probably might not have been as fast, I'm not sure how much time that really would have made a difference in Tahoe, maybe a half hour. It was a lot more relaxing training all in the bay and not in the pool. Injury-wise, I was a lot less injured.
I bet,
Yeah, a lot less injured. And it kind of was a lot more fun. I tell people to swim with, like if I do a 4 or 5 hour, they come and do an hour or two with me. And it was a lot more fun. And I really enjoyed the training part. And I think that's what I really enjoy about my swimming, aside for it's my time to myself, clears my head from an intense job, my other passion, which is education, and supporting kids who have intense needs, but also it's the discipline. And I love the discipline and
I
the
can
process.
tell. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
the
been doing
process.
it so long.
And
Must
that's
love the
how
discipline. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the discipline. I also love the process,
Yeah.
setting your goals. While the goals are nice to achieve, um, it's also for me. It's also the whole process and just
Mm-hmm.
enjoying every day. And that's how I do it. I try to walk out of every workout or every swim with something that I'm happy about.
Yeah. Yeah. I
There's
only have
my
time for,
story.
I love it. It's such a great story. I'm gonna have to have you back so we can get in your head a little bit more. But I only have one more question for today, and then I gotta let you go. Did you have anyone that you were able to look up to through all of this? You started so long ago, and you've been on such a road for so long. Whose marathon swim stories inspired you?
Well, well, it changed. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So there was Penny Lee Dean,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to meet her, and I was really thrilled with her and her intensity and her ability to keep going. And then actually the other people that I really looked up to were the old timers at the Dolphin Club. Oh my gosh, they hadn't missed a day of swimming, no matter how long, in like 30 or 40 years.
I love
And
that.
I know that, I'm 62. And so I know that I'm probably kind of on that end of it. But I mean, I remember as a kid, that's what I would look up to. So as far as anyway, I remember Penny and meeting Penny and all the inroads that she has made. And then there have been other people as well, Steve Moon and Tony's, some of the things that he's done, but in more of like helping really develop the whole swimming and open water swimming, both he and Penny. So those are my people that I have looked up to, but it's kind of mainly not the speedsters, not, but
Right.
it's the people that knowing that they're tough and they stay with it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Suzanne.
Okay. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good to see you.
Good to see you.